Family, welcome to the channel. I just want to say, before we get into the song, that, as we brace for the massive impact, which is 100,000 subscribers within a year, flame, as we head toward that six-figure mark on the subscribers, I want to let you know that it was the renegades who first showed up to this channel in droves, rocking with your boy. As a result of Ren, Ren he pinned on his Instagram, one of the reactions from me and my brother Black Pegasus. Definitely subscribe to Black P if you haven't already. Black P is GOAT tier. What are we talking about? And, I just want to let you know, I appreciate it, how often you've got to come back and, regardless of the mistakes that I've made, things that I've watched out of order. You guys remember, 5-6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, the Ginny and Screech thing, and I watched them all out of order, and you rocked with me regardless. You rolled your eyes at me, but you rocked it. You rock with me nevertheless. And I definitely appreciate it. You know what rhymes with Renegade? Minute Maid. When I was between 12 and 15 years old, I would drink 2 gallons of Minute Maid a week. I'm pretty sure I kept them in business when they were a startup. I don't know when they started, but I used to go through tons of Minute Maid. My friends and family all knew that 24/7 there was Minute Maid in my bladder, and I had to pee constantly. You guys used to rock with Minute Maid, especially the fruit punch flavor. And I may have died in a pool of Minute Maid had it not been for my wife. My wife now makes these. And I'm a man of a certain age. It's a very healthy smoothie. I'm going to be enjoying it as we get into our first track, Troubles by Ren. It's like, I have a theory that Ren is making music in the past. That there's a Ren who lives in the past who makes new music. And so Ren, his art is growing in the prior than direction somehow. Without any further ado, we're going to let Ren cook. Please cook, sir. Talk to me.
Ooh, Lordy, trouble so hard. Ooh, Lordy, trouble so hard.
Guys, as we're reading this at the bottom, he's kind of given us a little bit of an autobiography about his illness and about not finding any resolve. I just want to let you know that I'm noticing that while that's popping up, you see Ren in all of these isolated locations where no one notices him. He's under bridges. He's outside of the door of closed restaurants at night, standing in the cold, right? So, the artistry is still there while he's telling this story. I just want you to notice that. That beat is fire. I like that beat.
I don't reach into the past very much for these shards of shattered glass and harsh paper cut.
That's cap. You reach into the past constantly. Just
I don't reach into the past very much for these shards of shattered glass and harsh paper cuts. Leave me stop when I reach in, memories are seeped in. Hydrochloric acid, I go to war and get passive and freeze up. Music help the ice to thaw. Put the chisel in the middle, swing the hammer of Thor. Pull it out of the impossible, Excalibur sword. Etching notepads full of reasons why my feelings are sore. The first day that I got sick, ejected from the cockpit of living. 19, young teen, waking up bitten. Posters up, manhunt, Ren went missing. Hard to have faith when the gods don't listen. The first hit maybe was the hardest. Waking in the body that was buried like a carcass. Brain in the lion's den, body in the shark pit. Waking up in pain again, aching, broken hearted. Persistent little blogger, I was bouncing from a doctor to a doctor to a doctor. Like a table tennis game that has no end. So be the fate of Ren.
You know what, guys? To someone like me who's never endured the depths of an ongoing agony, right? Of course I felt agony. Of course I felt misery. Of course I've been, sad. I've had moments like everyone else. But for someone like Ren who's endured ongoing agony, right? To someone like me, I'm catching more of the lyricism than the embodied feeling, right? Because there are some people, especially like a lot of renegades, who deeply connect, and I hear comments, I read through comments on even my channel where people are saying, oh, this resonates with me because what he's saying is something I've been through. And so I don't feel as alone when he talks about these things. It's almost like he's talking about me. Whereas, with someone like me, who's just, a lyricist who's had, the ordinary ups and downs of life, to me, it's just like, oh, he's mixing lyricism with imaginative storytelling. But for other people, it's a lot more than that. That's just not lost on me.
Body that was buried like a carcass, brain in the lion's den, body in the shark pit, waking up in pain again, aching, broken hearted. Persistent little blogger, I was bouncing from a doctor to a doctor to a doctor, like a table tennis game that has no end. So be the fate of Ren, every single question answered with a question on the end. The second year I came to terms with giving up my dreams, mine was severed from the means that helped me write these rhyme schemes. Brain was inflamed, the fatigue was crushing, hard to remain sane with your brain combusting.
I want to say something else too, because, I always mention on this channel that I'm a religious man, and that I am. The more I learn, the more I grow, the more religious I feel like I become. Maybe it's in my DNA, or maybe it's my upbringing. But, a lot of people who maintain their religion don't necessarily know what it's like to be in so much pain that you question whether God is there, because, a lot of people can sit through, bad situations in life as long as there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But when your deepest prayers seem to be ignored for long periods of time with aching pain that's just right there in your situation, a lot of people don't know necessarily what it would take to endure that. And it's important that the religious folks like myself have grace for people who are going through a darkness that we are blessed not to have ever been through.
Was inflamed, the fatigue was crushing, hard to remain sane with your brain combusting. And
right.
The third year was murder, living in a purgatory full of worry, wouldn't live to be 30. Lifestyle hurt me, always in my bedroom, rearranged the alphabet and all the letters spelled doom. Light hurt my eyes, popping pills to survive. When you're 23 and mentally you steadily decline. 24 I was poor, disability benefits. What's the benefit of disability? It's irrelevant. 25 and the scars that were etched, they crack. Elastic bands only stretch so far and then snap. Deep in psychosis, hallucinations, troubled vision. Visits from the underworld were conjuring my superstition. 25 living back at home with my mum, but not because I'm a bum, alone and physically done. So thin, so frail, so weak I'd become, and my skin so pale, never kissed by the sun. One time I carved a hole in my chest just to feel. I wish that was a metaphor, the struggle was real. When you're living in the Holocaust, you buckle and kneel. There's relief in the teeth of the kiss of cold steel. Facts.
There's relief in the teeth of cold steel. I remember in other music, Ren makes references to wanting to physically harm himself in order to feel again. Because it's almost like you're in so much pain, and then that pain gets sacrificed to whatever pharmaceuticals are prescribed. And then you kind of miss the pain. And it's this insane psychological dance that a lot of people have gone through. Tell me about it in the comments if you've been there.
You buckle and kneel. There's relief in the teeth of the kiss of cold steel. Facts. 26, I'm highly medicated and the pain sophisticated while I'm lying broken naked on my back. I bore my microphone until my coffin started dropping raw thoughts with the grim reaper knocking on the track. But then, man, lo and behold, I heard an angel beckon on this treacherous road. Was a stem cell doctor with a generous glow. In the cell transplant, pulled me out of the cold. And my skin got younger and my body got stronger and my stomach felt hunger for a door that was closed.
This is when he was in Canada, I believe, prior to the Sick Boy drop. And so he's telling the whole story that he tells in the chapters, in Ren's chapters, which we have on the channel as well.
My soul heard music for the first time. Beauty was a word I'd use for this gift of gold. Oh Lord, I forgive you. Lord, I forgive you. Lord, I forgive you. Make me whole. This music I give you. Pain that I live through. Everything I've been through is yours to hold.
Listen, guys. I know you guys like when I, just hear me out. Listen to this.
Everything I've been through is yours to hold.
Falling by the wayside with these ideas I can't shake it. New jeans with the same old baggies in my pocket. Falling by the wayside with these. That's Ren and Webby. Conditions like Lyme disease, ME, MCS, POTS. Victims are usually left to suffer for years without any solid explanation of what is going on and receive very little help to escape a body constantly at war with itself. I had to recently, my daughter, when she gets colds, the cough lingers for such a long time. And it can linger weeks and weeks after the cold. One night we took her in because it sounded like she was wheezing in bed because of this consistent cough. And we would go into the hospital and the doctors, she's fine. Some kids just have consistent coughs. And then, as a new dad, I've never been a dad before. It's my only daughter. I'm laying in bed, hearing her coughing in her room. And it's like 1 a.m. And I'm just like, awake, staring at the ceiling, like, should I take her in again? What should I, and there's a coldness, there's kind of a bitterness that we can have, toward the medical establishment, even though, my wife is a medical professional. It's just like, you just feel like something more should be done. Victims are usually left to suffer for years without any solid explanation of what's going on and receive very little help to escape a body constantly at war with itself. This can make you feel like giving up, and many times I came close. But I'm so happy I didn't, because life is beautiful now. I promise yours can be too. I knew it, right? He's speaking directly to the spirit of his past self so that other people can kind of cling to this and say, wow, someone else knows exactly what I'm going through, right? So, this song, for anyone who hasn't been through something that deep, you just kind of get the glory of being a fly on the wall for a conversation you're not necessarily a part of. I respect it. For those of you still living in the dark, hold on. There will be a day where these conditions are more easily managed. Hold on, these bloodshot eyes. Hold on, these bloodshot eyes. Until that day, I will keep pushing for more exposure, more compassion, more understanding. We all deserve a life free of suffering, where we can find moments of real beauty and peace, even when things seem hopeless. I promise this is still possible. I think I know what he's trying to say there. If life were free of suffering, there would be no joy. But I think we all deserve to experience joy without a constant suffering, right? Imagine suffering being constant. And for some of you, you don't have to imagine it. For some, it's like, there was weeks and weeks or months and months. And, for in Ren's case, possibly years where it's like, the suffering is semi-constant, right? Flame skis. Fam, I'm sorry for bloviating a bit. But I really appreciate you guys being on the road with me to 100,000 subscribers, as long as you have. Talk to me in the comments. I would love to correspond with you. Fam, have a phenomenal rest of your week and a blessed weekend.